Kai, episode 7, Bad Eggs. And for better or for worse, and it's your boy Icon with a Netflix review for you, going over some Cobra Kai. Oh, in this episode. So a lot of the women weren't there. LaRusso's wife, she was only in it for a hot second. Johnny's girlfriend, she was only in it checking her mail. This episode strictly focused on the children for a change, because that's what the show was supposed to be about from the beginning. So now, the episode starts. We have a tale of two stories here, a tale of two dojos. We have Terry Silver and Kim Sung Young. They're teaching the students of Cobra Kai. And Lee and Tori, they're still there. They're the only cast members from the show that are still in Cobra. Well, no, the black kid, Kenny's still there too. So we got three main characters that are in Cobra Kai, and the rest of the cast, they're training in Miyagi Eagle Fang Karate Do. So Mr. Cho, he is the one responsible for teaching the Miyagi-Dos and the Eagle Fangs today, because both Johnny and Daniel are on their way down to prison to go talk to Sensei Kreese, which was the wife's idea. So now that Cho is teaching the class, he's trying to teach them togetherness, and he does this exercise where he gives them an egg, and then he said it's your job to protect the egg from the snake. So of course, everybody, this is like hide and seek, everybody runs off to do their own thing because they're trying to protect their egg, the best way that they feel, like is possible. Now, LaRusso's son, he is a part of the group now, but he doesn't know jack. Like, he knows no karate and he can't defend himself. But what Sam did say, that he is good at outthinking his opponents. There was even an earlier scene where he couldn't get away from, where Kenny and the guys rolled up on him. They stuffed his head in the toilet bowl. He's more of a thinker. He's not really like an aggressor. So it's going to take him a minute to build up that aggression and that confidence. He's basically now Kenny, because that's how Kenny was when Kenny first started. So they're doing the exercise, like Robbie's talking to Sam, Miguel is cool with it. He's like, listen, ain't no problem. The Hawk, Dimitri, he has a problem with Robbie because they still got beef. And then he was just like, oh, you're a piece of shit. Robbie, don't talk to me. And then he was just like, dude, he's like, are you still mad because we cut your stupid mohawk? He was like, first of all, you broke Dimitri's arm. You attacked us at the mall. He said, hell, you're the one that destroyed Miyagi-Do. And he was like, now I'm the bad guy. So I said, there's this whole big thing, but there's beef, and then like there's personal issues and everything going on. So they're going through the exercise, and of course they got their ass kicked. Like, Cho ends up destroying everyone's egg. He ends up beating everyone up, chasing everybody all over the place, and to the point where like they were discouraged, and then they were just like, oh, there's nothing we can do. And then Cho was even like, his dialogue is hilarious, because like they said, he has the teachings of Daniel, where he can be very cryptic and he can also be very wording, but he's also aggressive in the sense of like Johnny Lawrence. So they're trying to figure this dude out and try to figure out how they can stop the exercise. And then he said it like 3 times. He was just like, oh, single. He's like, single bird cannot fly or something like that. So like he's trying to tell them, and then they're still running off on their own. But ironically, it was actually Daniel's son, the one person who knows no karate and the one person who's considered the weakest of the entire group. He's the one that deciphered the cryptic teachings, where he said that, listen, the problem is we're actually going about this the wrong way. Like, we keep going individually. He told us to work together. So if we work together, we could probably stop them. And then they come up with the cliche of literally putting all their eggs in one basket, and they built a wall. Like, the best fighters went first. Like, the best fighters, they were in the beginning. Like, they fought him. They got the stick out of his hand. Like, Robbie and the Hawk, like the two of them attacked him at the same time. So they finally got on the same page. And the weaker ones kind of like held back and protect the eggs. And then they did a thing where they built a wall to the point where he couldn't get around them. He couldn't, go through them. He couldn't go over them. And then he had no choice. He was like, the snake concedes to you. So he, like he told him that they won. And he said that that's what Cobra Kai has, that we don't. That's what we have. Like, Cobra Kai doesn't. He's like, we are together. We are not individuals. He was like, 1 inch versus a mile, and 1 mile versus an inch, and everything. So now he's like, I'm ready to teach you defense on how to strengthen your mind. And I think like him, Johnny, and Daniel, the 3 of them should like start their own dojo, because all 3 of their teachings together, I think, can actually be a positive thing and create like a new fighting style. But anyway, now back in Cobra Kai. So they're doing this thing where they're just like, oh, we don't want any weaklings. We want leaders. We don't want followers. Whatever. We want those to rise to the occasion. And I love this chick. Like, Kim Sub Young, like, oh, I love this bitch. I need, at some point, there's going to be a television show or a movie that is, Asian-based, Korean-based, Japanese, Chinese, Mandarin, whatever, and it's gonna be about like there's gonna be like a villain, like an evil villain that's like terrorizing the town or something. She needs to be that villain. Someone needs to hire this woman to be a martial arts villain in some project ASAP, because damn, like talk about like the stare of death. Like I'm watching this thing on TV and she's intimidating the shit out of me. Like that's how good this woman is. Like Warrior season 3 is currently being shot. I pray this woman ends up in Warrior, because she really needs to be there. She needs to she needs to be somewhere serious where she can like whoop somebody's ass. But anyway, they come up with the idea where, and this was weird because they were talking about like, oh, we need strength, we need leaders, we need people that can rise above their limitations and be stronger, blah blah blah. You talk all this shit about wanting people to be stronger and wanting people to be their own thing, and then you're just like, oh, we're gonna have guys over here and girls over there. Like that's like the entire opposite of, you might as well mix everyone together, you know, so they can prove their strength again. Because it shouldn't matter if you're a man. It shouldn't matter if you're a woman. Like guys shouldn't go easy on the girls, and the girls should be able to break through the men. So the fact that they separated them kind of took me out of it, but there was a reason for that. So because they came up with this whole thing where they said that they're going to have a leader and a follower, and those two people are going to work together to try to take down a stronger opponent. Now Kenny and that Asian kid who think he black, they had the two of them team up together, and the kid told, and then, you know, the Asian kid told him, he was like, look, he was like, just follow my lead, son, and maybe you'll be like the second best male in the dojo or whatever. And then they had Lee and they had, you know, Tori team up together. They had the two of them team up together. They got into it a little earlier because she was just like, because Lee was just like, she was trying to talk to Tori, and then Tori was just like, oh, you shouldn't even be in Cobra Kai. But Tori was being sincere. Like Tori was legitimately being sincere about her not being Cobra Kai, but she took it as like, oh, why are you trying to keep me down? And you just don't want me here. And then she was like, it's not that. She was like, Cobra Kai is dangerous and you shouldn't be here. And then she was like, you know, don't tell, you know, she's like, screw you. She's like, I'm gonna kick your ass, you know, whatever. So of course they paired the two of them together. And then when they paired the two of them together, like Lee was basically trying to learn from Tori. She was actually trying to, you know, be under her wing, get to know her. But because Tori's doing this whole thing where she's like the mole and trying to take down Cobra Kai from within, she's really trying to keep her at arm's length. Tori's trying to protect her as far as Cobra Kai is concerned, but the girl's seeing it differently. She's seeing it as her trying to push her away. So anyway, so the two of them get into it, and then like Lee gets mad and she's just like, yo, like screw you, I'm gonna do my own thing. They get their ass beat. And then, you know, on the male side, like Kenny's getting his ass beat because the Asian kid keeps telling Kenny to go out there and he's not even trying to like help him. And then that's when Kenny got mad and he walked away. Terry Silver goes and talks to him, and he's just like, you know, what's the problem? And then he was just like, you know, I'm tired of being a follower. And he was like, well, why? You know, like, stop following. He was like, you know, you followed your dad, you followed your brother, you followed, you know, like Robbie. He was like, now you're following the Asian kid. He was just like, look, he's like, then what do you want from me, Sensei? He's like, I want you to stop being a follower and start being a leader. He was like, oh, but you said the Asian kid was the leader. He's like, I ain't say that shit. He's like, I ain't say that shit. He said, I said there'd be a leader and a follower. You decided you were going to be the follower. And then his mentality changed. And then there was a moment where the girls decided to have another crack at it. And then Tori was just like, why do you want to go out there and get our asses kicked again? You know, then she was just like, she's like, I'm not afraid to get my ass kicked. She said, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to learn. But then Tori was like, yeah, but if you don't follow me, we're not going to win. And she said, bitch, I've been trying to follow you like since day one. And that's when Tori was like, oh. So then the two of them went into battle. You know, they ended up putting a strategy together. There was a moment where Lee got knocked down and then Sensei Kim was about to strike. And that was Tori's opportunity to maybe kick her in the back of the head or catch her in the ribs. Instead, she grabbed her fist and stopped Kim from striking Tori. And then Kim was able to take Tori down and she beat them both. You know, and then that's when she was just like, oh, you know, she was like, oh, there's no, she said, had you sacrificed the pawn, you could have scored a hit. But, you know, in Tori's mind, she was just like, but that's not what a good leader does. She said, it's my job to protect the follower, you know, and put us both in the best position we can to win. Either we lose together or we win together. I'm not sacrificing her for the sake of the mission. And then she was like, maybe, but you still failed. Now get out of my sight. And I love the way the whole time, she was like, will no one take the challenge? And I was like, I love this chick. Unfortunately, because the two of them are forging a bond, like Lee and Tori are forging a bond, it was the complete opposite on the male end because Kenny actually sacrificed the Asian kid to score that point because he ended up pushing him and he was like, yo, I'm not following you anymore. And then he punched him in the chest. And then when the Asian kid tried to hit him back, Kenny threw the Asian kid into the sensei. And then when the sensei knocked the Asian kid down, Kenny jumped over him and kicked the sensei in the face and he scored a point. So it's two classic examples of sacrificing your pawn to score the point, or actually being a leader and trying to keep, like the team together. There are two different ways you can go about it, but, obviously Kim's whole thing was she was just like, oh, working together means you fail. But Kenny's falling off the deep end. Somebody needs to reel him back in. But that's how Cobra Kai operated. So on the Miyagi side, we got them working together. And then on the Cobra Kai side, we got everybody basically going for self and sacrificing, who they can sacrifice just so they can be the strongest, so they can be on top. So then in the final scene, we had Johnny Lawrence and we had Daniel LaRusso go into Sensei Kreese's prison to talk to Kreese. They went and spoke to him and they said, listen, help us take down Cobra Kai. And the funny thing is, Sensei Kreese was like, look, he was like, do you think I'm gonna help you guys, take down Terry Silver? If you think that, you're stupider than I thought. And then after he says that, later on, he was just like, oh, you couldn't even take down Silver even after I fed you a clue. And I'm like, dude, you just said you're not gonna help him, and then you just admitted to helping him, to helping him. So I'm like, make up your mind. And then that's when LaRusso was just like, look, he said, I got a lawyer. I can get you out of here if you give us the information that we need. So he was like, I'll just write down the lawyer's information and then, tell us what we want to know. And he basically said that back in the day, we got a little flashback. He said back in the day when me and Silver trained in Kim Sum-young in North Korea, he said that there was a moment where Terry wanted us to branch off and join this big world fighting tournament. And he was like, I said no, because I wanted to focus on Johnny Lawrence. But Silver's plan is, now that he's taken over the valley and has an army of, karate fighters ready to go, he's going to take the strongest people he can possibly find out of all the Cobra Kai dojos, and he's going to enter this world tournament. And I said last week, I said in the last review, I said, watch this whole thing lead back to a tournament. But it's not just a tournament, it's the tournament. It's the World Karate Tournament, the biggest fighting tournament of all time. Because Kreese said, if Silver wins this tournament, he just put Cobra Kai on the map from a global standpoint. And he said that's his plan. And if you want to stop Cobra Kai from spreading, you're gonna have to win the tournament now, because it's like they can't stop him from entering the tournament. So all they could do now is they could just try to enter the tournament and make sure Cobra Kai doesn't win. And we're right back to square one with the tournament thing. I'm actually happy about that. And in the final, then after he gave him the information, he was just like, okay, now that I've given you what you wanted, give me the lawyer's number. Daniel gave him the lawyer's number. And then when he opened the paper said, no mercy, motherfucker. And I was dying. And, so Kreese is still in jail. LaRusso and Lawrence, they know what the plan is now. And now that I guess they're going to try to incorporate it, try to get, basically what's going to happen is they're going to get themselves in the tournament too. And it's going to be like the Miyagi Fangs versus the Cobra Kai for control of the valley all over the planet. And thank you for tuning in. So this is a cool episode. And I feel like now we're getting back to basics as far as Cobra Kai is concerned. I actually am excited about the tournament. I do want to see this worldwide tournament, that's going on. I would assume the tournament's going to happen in season 6. Because, this is episode 7. We're only getting 10 episodes. So with 3 episodes to go, we're not going to do a worldwide tournament. So the tournament has to be in season 6. So that gives us something to look forward to in season 6. And I'm definitely here for it when we review more Cobra Kai. So like I said, share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. Hit me up on Twitter and or Instagram. What did you think about this particular episode of Cobra Kai? Did you like the whole egg thing that the master was doing? Did you like the whole partner, leader, follower thing? Like which style, if you were in a karate school, would you be more of a Miyagi Eagle Fang, or would you be in Cobra Kai and fight to the death or whatever? Share your questions and your comments and your thoughts down below. So thank you for tuning in as always, guys. So until next time, for some more Cobra Kai action, protect your eggs from the snake. And until next time, we're out. Peace.